Magdalena Bay are an American alt-pop duo from Florida. They are Mika Tenenbaum and Matthew Lewin, and they are also a romantic couple. They have released two albums, one in 2021 and one in 2024. Hi, my name's Dan. So this is the second album by Magdalena Bay, and it's my first encounter with them. So it's my first time listening to this album. So this is a request review. It's been requested by a user by the name of Yeet Gore. They've got two on my pile, currently waiting to be reviewed. Well, this is the first one on the pile. But they've only had one before, which was about 2 years ago. So I'm not feeling like I'm being overburdened with them from Yeetgar. Hi, Yeetgar. I do request reviews on the channel. I don't ever promise that I will review everything that's been requested. And there have been a couple of occasions where I haven't reviewed something that's been requested. But I do almost all of the ones that are requested. And the way to request a review, if you want to, is to leave a comment on any video on my channel to that effect. And as long as you don't then add something to that, which will mean it gets filtered out. So I think that's bad language or anything that the AI detects as being, if you're rude to me or anything like that, then maybe I won't see it. But otherwise, I should see it. And if I don't respond to it, then maybe I haven't seen it, and you can always, jog my memory or, say, by the way, have you seen this? Occasionally I miss the emails telling me that I've got a comment, but it's very rare, I think, unless it happens all the time, because how would I know? Anyway, um, just to say that most of the reviews on my channel are not request reviews. They're a big job that I've set myself, a challenge, if you like, which is to review the 3,000 greatest albums of all time, according to a website called Acclaim Music, who have created this list by amalgamating critic lists. It's a bit like Wikipedia in some ways. And I'm about a third of my way through that nearly. So most of my reviews of that, and if that sounds like an interesting thing to you, by all means check out the channel, and why not subscribe so you can come along with me on this amazing journey that I'm on to discover some of the best albums in the world. Anyway, let's put all the advertising aside and get into this review. So this is an album of, excuse my itchy eye, I'm going to describe it as alternative electro-pop. So the electronic side of things is definitely here. There's a word that was used in some of the description I read, that it was maximal, which it's a word I like. I'm not sure if I've come across it before, but I can understand it as the opposite of minimal. So it's just got a lot in here. It's dense. It's very kind of, lots of sounds, production. So in terms of style, in some ways, it's kind of reminiscent of late 90s electro-dance-pop. But I mean, has been some since then. So Kylie Minogue's most recent couple of albums, like this Madonna's disco album, and it's just, kind of dancey tunes with a beat that keeps going. It doesn't have a lot that reminds me of kind of modern pop R&B stuff, which is stuff that I sometimes struggle with. It's quite intricate, and the production is quite unusual at times. So I'm going to reference vaporwave quite a few times. Vaporwave is a style. I wouldn't say I'm an expert, and I might have got this all wrong, but it's this kind of airy feel to it. It's not quite dream pop, but it's got this kind of otherworldliness to it. And there's quite a lot of that in here, I would say, but it's not. Again, in my ignorance, I wouldn't potentially claim that this is vaporwave, because it's not empty enough. I think it's far too busy. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's an orchestra and then a lot of production stuff. I keep using the word dense. I'm going to keep saying that. And there's unusual bits of kind of stuff coming in and different sounds being used. But musically, it's fairly straightforward. And in fact, musically, it reminds me of more 70s disco stuff at times, just in terms of the chords that are used. There's sometimes some of the grooves are really nice. Some of the bass is nice and funky. So musically, I've really enjoyed it, and in fact, production-wise, although it's a bit intense, um, despite being so full, somehow it manages to produce an airy feel to the whole thing. It's got an otherworldliness to it. And that's emphasized as well by the vocals from Mika. So it's kind of breathy, almost dream pop like vocals, but again, not quite. I the one reference that I want to make here is Jola Taxi by Vanessa Paradis. It's got very kind of similar, breathy, kind of almost whispered at times vocals, which add to the whole aesthetic of it being this kind of airy feel of stuff. So it is a concept album. Um, so I'm going to read some stuff from Wikipedia. I always like to say if I'm quoting stuff. There's a character, True, represented by Mika, is implanted with an imaginal disc, which is an object shaped like a compact disc, into her forehead to transform into her ideal self. When True's body rejects the disc, she undertakes a journey to understand what it means to be human. Um, so, end quote. And if you look at the album cover, you can see that that is part of this story. It's got the picture of that disc going into her forehead at this point. Um, I really enjoyed it. It's got a feel of its own. It's got a world of its own. It's not musically challenging, but it's production-wise really interesting. It's quirky. It's dense, and it drew me in. And I felt by the second listen, I was remembering bits of it. So yeah, I enjoyed it. And at this point, as often, I want to invite you to tell me what you think of this album. So you can do that by leaving me a comment. And if you don't know it and it sounds intriguing, why not go and have a listen? And then let me know what you think by leaving a comment. I did just want to also just throw in some stuff that hasn't affected the score or the way I felt about the album. But I got intrigued by the thought of going and seeing some videos from the album, which I sometimes do. I try not to include those thoughts in my reviewing because I want to do it as an audio experience. And there's a unified feel. So I think there are three videos from this album. There's certainly three that I saw. And they tie in with a story. There's got a really interesting aesthetic to the videos. There are two versions of this character, True. I think that's how I'm interpreting it. There's one dressed in dark blue and one dressed in white. I think the white is meant to be the ideal self. I'm not entirely sure. There might be two characters. But it was certainly interesting to go and look at. And I was also somewhat mesmerized by her ears because she has slightly unusually large ears. But sorry about the personal comment there. Didn't have any effect on how I feel about the music or about her. It was just a personal comment, so apologies for that. So thanks, Yeetgo, for introducing me to this. I really enjoyed it. The next album review on this channel, I'll be back onto my big list, and I'll be reviewing Goodbye Jumbo by World Party. But that's it from me for now.